Hello, welcome back to the second in our Copilot series. 2 weeks ago, we learned how to use Microsoft 365 Copilot to be more productive. And now we're going to dive a little bit deeper into technical readiness, ensuring that our clients are set up correctly to access the services and the data that they need to leverage Copilot, but without compromising security or privacy. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands we're recording on and pay my respects to elders past and present. And to take us through our important topic today, we have Ala Rahal, who is the pre-sales technical specialist for productivity at Crayon. And to answer any questions you may have, Andrew Aldridge and Fiona Golinelli. So we have a pretty impressive cast from Crayon today, and thank you very much, my special guests. Over to you, Ala.
Thank you, Claire. Hi, everyone. So our session today is about Microsoft 365 Copilot and Secure AI, starting with the agenda. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 and Secure AI, getting your customer AI ready, a better Copilot experience with Microsoft Business Premium, and the next step to get started with Copilot. Let's start with the introduction. As more businesses start using generative AI, their security team have to figure out which apps are best for their users and how to keep their data safe. There are many types of generative AI applications, each needing different level of protection based on their risks. Some apps may not meet security standards, so you may need to limit their use. For others, they may need some controls to allow everyone in the business to use them. So it is important to understand how they are using AI, protect the data it handles, and manage its use properly. And with the new technology, with any new technology, there are always going to be threat factors that attackers are waiting to take advantage of, and generative AI is no different. So when it comes to generative AI, there are three main risk categories that organizations or businesses need to be aware of and manage together. First, the rise of shadow IT or shadow AI, sorry. So it is a critical challenge is having visibility into the AI services that are in use and how users are interacting with them. Is the app safe? How many users are accessing it? What risk it poses? These all questions worth asking. Second is the lack of controls to protect shared in AI, data shared in AI. So it is another concern is data security. How do security team ensure that any sensitive data that's being exchanged between the user and apps is protected? Finally, is increased regulatory pressure. So with the rapid adoption of AI in businesses workflows, it is important that security team remain compliant and keep up with the regulations that comes around protection. So let's look at some common scenarios associated with AI usage. So with hybrid work from home become normal, data security incidents can happen at any time, anywhere, because there is no clear boundaries for data anymore. So if businesses cannot see their data, it's at risk of being misused. It's like having so much stuff in your garage that you don't notice when something is missing. So there are three common data security incidents. The first one is phishing attack. A user fall for a phishing email and their account get compromised, leading to a stolen and exposed sensitive data. The second one is insider threats. A malicious insider steal data for personal gain, like departing employee taking intellectual property to their next job. The third point is accidental exposure. So negligent users, accidentally exposed data in AI applications while working on confidential information. So ensuring the security of AI usage is a shared responsibility between Microsoft and your organizations. From Microsoft side, foundational security controls have been built to make Microsoft Copilot enterprise ready. For example, Microsoft has strict access controls to customers' data. Your data is yours and it won't be shared with other tenants. All data is encrypted and protected by industry standards. On the other hand, businesses have the responsibility to configure access controls to determine who has access to Copilot and how to block risky users. Businesses also need to protect and govern data entered by and created by AI applications. Lastly, conducting employee training to ensure users are using Copilot responsibly is critical. Today in this presentation, we will show you how to control, how the controls, we'll show you how to control that usage of applications, AI application, and help you to protect and govern the data that within the interactions. So how does Microsoft 365 Copilot protect your data? This can be achieved by inheriting Microsoft 365 by 2 points, or the two pillars. The first one is inheriting Microsoft 365 policies and controls already established within the Microsoft 365, and by protecting data processed through the LLMs. So when it comes to inheriting Microsoft 365 policies and controls, Copilot ensures data access and permissions are respected, only displaying information to authorized users based on Microsoft 365 permissions and settings. It focuses on the current user content, avoiding searches across other tenants or accounts where users may be a guest. The third way is customer data is safe through separation, encryption during transit and at rest, and processing in memory, ensuring it's never stored outside the tenant boundaries. This protection include data content encryption methods such as BitLocker, pre-file encryption, TLS, which is the transport layer security, and Internet Protocol, which is the IPsec. Additionally, data processing and residency comply with GDPR and other privacy laws, with Copilot adhering the EDU-DP standards. The second way that Microsoft ensures that your data is safe and protected comes when it comes to protecting data processed through the LLMs. So Microsoft 365 Copilot take protection of data processed through the large language model seriously. So when using Copilot, all prompts, data, and responses remain within the service secure boundaries, adhering existing security and compliance rules. Your data, including prompts and responses, is not used as well to train the AI model, ensuring it stays confidential, secure within your business or within your Microsoft 365 tenant. Additionally, Microsoft is committed to responsible AI deployment, emphasizing fairness, safety, privacy, and transparency and accountability. So the question is why, which is you may be asked by your customers, why Microsoft is uniquely positioned to empower secure AI, or why we have to use Microsoft Copilot. So Microsoft is uniquely positioned to empower secure AI users to the integrated, comprehensive, and intelligent security solutions. I start with the first point, which is integrated. So Microsoft security solutions are natively integrated with Microsoft 365 Copilot. providing seamless real-time protection and simplifying security management. When it comes to comprehensive with end-to-end security, Microsoft covers threat protection, identity and access management, and finally, data security, ensuring all aspects of AI usage are protected. When it comes to intelligence, leveraging advanced AI capability, Microsoft AI powers security tools to proactively detect, respond to threats continuously, or also continuously learning and improving over time. This combination of like integration, comprehensive and coverage and intelligence makes Microsoft leader in secure AI deployment. We'll move to the second point, which is getting your customer AI ready. And that's when things get really technical. So get ready. How do you know your customer is ready for Copilot or for Microsoft 365 Copilot? We start with reviewing the licensing. So you must have one of the required basic subscriptions that includes M365 Business, Business Basic, Business Standard, Business Premium, M365 E3 and E5 and more. So there's a list of subscriptions that can be the basic subscriptions. As we know, Copilot is an add-on, so it has to have a basic security license. Then must meet the following prerequisites. Users must have an Intro ID account, formerly known as an Azure Active Directory. Second, OneDrive account. So some features within the Microsoft 365 Copilot, such as saving and sharing files, require users, to have OneDrive account. For Copilot application, app integration into M365 apps, you need to make sure that it is updating under any channel that is not semi-annual. So it is recommended to use either current channel or monthly enterprise channel for updates. Now moving to the third point or pillar, validate Microsoft 365 adoption. If your customer business or your business already has a high adoption rate of Microsoft 365 productivity apps, you are going to have much better experience with Copilot to gain and that help you gain access and insights to understand more about the business usage of the Microsoft 365 apps. So you can review adoption report and the Microsoft adoption score to help you with using Copilot and knowing more about the productivity tools. So if you find that you have a low utilization for Microsoft 365, you can work on a plan to drive usage across the tenant in preparation for Copilot. The fourth point is optimize your environment for Copilot. In the same way as validating, you want to make sure that your environment is optimized to get best Copilot experience. So Microsoft provide you with tools to help you evaluate the customer environment and provide you with recommendation and actionable insights. You can request an optimization assessment from the SMP assessment disk, or you can use provided Excel questionnaire as part of running that assessment to review your customer security policies and access control, as well as information architecture and data governance for your customer. I have included this slide today to show you that the Copilot security, the Copilot for Microsoft 365 optimization assessment. So this optimization assessment is crafted to evaluate your customer current licensing profile or your tenant. You can use it for your own tenant. Collaboration tools, sensitive data handling, the practices, and security controls. It is a comprehensive assessment aimed to provide a clear roadmap for deploying Microsoft 365 Copilot effectively. It takes approximately 30 minutes. They have 26 targeted questions. The objective of them is to help you understand the current licensing and to evaluate your existing licensing arrangement, identity management to help you assist your identity management practice or your customer identity management practice, collaboration tools to review the collaboration tools currently in use, data locations, identify where the data is stored, and data security as well. So you have that free assessment from Microsoft. You can leverage it to know more about your customer, or you can use third-party tools. There are too many of them, similar to AvePoint Insights and Policies, and more in the market. I'm sure the Manage Protect team will assist you with third-party tools. Moving to the next slide. And I would like you please to focus on this slide. This is an important slide, and I included it because it will help you decide the path forward when you deploy Microsoft 365 Copilot. So when preparing to implement Microsoft 365 Copilot, it is essential to understand your customer organization risk tolerance, which can be categorized into 3 levels: acceptable risk level, medium risk, and not acceptable risk level. And this implementation approach varies based on the risk tolerance. So for businesses or organization with acceptable risk level, this process is straightforward. You can just start using Copilot immediately by assigning the license to the users, and the process begin automatically without needing to have an extra steps to protect organization data. Example to that, a small family business run by family, they all have access to all the files. There is no need to implement extra security capabilities to that small business. You can just assign Copilot. The whole family, they all have access to this data. So if the organization fall into medium risk category, additional steps are necessary to ensure everything is set up correctly. This includes temporary excluding high risk users, data sources, and applications, and implementing extra data security measures. And these steps can be done alongside enabling Copilot. So while you're doing all these security controls and data governance, you can deploy Copilot in the meantime. We will discuss how that can be done in the next few slides. For those within the not acceptable risk level, it's really crucial to establish all necessary controls before enabling the Copilot. This involves comprehensive security measures to ensure everything is secure and compliant. So the key question is, what is customer tolerance for risk? That's the first thing you need to ask when a customer approach you for deploying Copilot. Once this determined, the best implementation approach can be identified. If the customer falls under not acceptable risk tolerance category, it is your role, Mr. MSP, Mr. Partner, to ensure proper data, security governance, and compliance are in place, as these critical for successfully implementing Microsoft 365 Copilot. Please remember this slide, because in the next few slides, we will discuss more technical capabilities. I believe it is most likely applied to the not acceptable risk, but you will see in this slide as an example, in the right-hand side, you have low risk, medium risk, and high risk. And according to the Microsoft, and according to what we explained in the previous slides, the implementation based on will be based on those categories. Now we're going to talk about protecting user access for Microsoft 365 Copilot, and that goes through 2 phases. There is the phase of discovery, which is on the upper side of the slides, and there is the protect or the implementation phase, which is the second part of this slide. So when deploying Microsoft 365 Copilot, it is essential to understand the risk involved to ensure secure access to the data. And here how we can do that to protect user access. First, we need to know who access the data and how. It is important to determine if the users has necessarily permissions to access the data. Are they using intra-ID identity? Or they are relying on on-prem identity synced into intra-ID? So we start with asking these questions, because the more you know about your customer environment, the more capabilities, the more ability you'll have to decide where that customer fits. Second step is you need to identify who has access. This means figuring out which user or groups have access to specific data. Do different groups require different access permissions? Are they using strong authentication method to prevent credential theft? Are they regularly accessing essential data? How often? Now, the third point is also we need to ensure that access is controlled. This involves managing access through policies and permissions. Do we have adaptive access policy based on location, device risk, a user risk? Are admin given just enough and just in time access to manage the data and resources efficiently? Also, it is equally important to verify that access is fast and simple. Do users have multiple accounts and passwords to access the data and the resources? Do they have to re-enter their credentials to different resources? Can they reset their password and change it easily? Finally, you need to assess the risk associated with data access. What if the data exposed outside of the company? What if wrong users access sensitive data? We need to consider the impact and the cost. Are we at risk? Are we compliant? These questions need to be asked to your customer and to yourself if you're implementing Copilot for your organization. Now, moving to the second phase of protecting user access or protecting user identity. So first, we need to focus on user identity, verifying user identity is important to prevent unauthorized access and secure data security, and ensure data security, my bad. So each user should have single identity for accessing necessary data and resources. Second step is we need to manage user access. This involves organizing user into groups based on the roles to manage permissions efficiently. Setting up multi-factor authentication to have an extra layer of security and provide multiple verification methods. For secure adaptive access, we use security measures that are just based on the user behavior and context, similar to conditional access, based on device compliance, user location, real-time risk, that can significantly enhance security. Ensure seamless access. So when implement policies that provide easy yet secure access to data, this includes single sign-on, self-password reset, account unlock, password authentication, and more. Finally, it's important that we review access regularly. So auditing and updating user accesses ensure that only authorized users have access to sensitive data and keeping everything secure and compliant. This slide covers how we protect user access to Microsoft 365 Copilot. So let's summarize what we just explained. First, we need to evaluate login attempts. This means assessing login attempts based on user groups, IP address, locations, device state, and by using conditional access. The second thing, we need to allow access to authorized users while blocking unauthorized users to keep the data safe. We need to use multi-factor authentication. It's another way to protect the data, and that will add an extra layer of protection on top of your current security. We also need to limit access based on specific criteria, such as user role, device compliance, location. Issuing passwordless token that can be revoked. It's another way to provide a layer of security. Finally, it's important to monitor critical events immediately by continuously monitoring logins, attempts, and access patterns, and we can detect and respond to suspicious activities in real time, keeping your customer tenant secure.
These
Next
are
will
all
be
really good points just for security hygiene, even if you're not introducing Copilot, aren't they?
yes. So Copilot, yes, it is an add-on. Yes, it's the productivity add-on, but Copilot will make you focus on security and data governance because it's a tool. It's a powerful tool. If you don't have the security measures in place, and I'm talking here at high risk customers or medium risk, if you don't have those security measures implemented, Copilot will have access to your data in SharePoint, OneDrive, everywhere within the Microsoft 365 tenants. But as we said previously, Copilot will adhere the security measures that you have taken in place before deploying it. So if you have permissions to deny access to a certain folder, only me and you and David can have access to that files. No one else can have it. Even Copilot can't have access to those files. So this is what we're trying to discuss. How to secure your tenant is important before deploying Copilot. Cool. Now we talk about securing access to M365 Copilot from any device. So devices is important to be also in the same level as security as the users. So you need to know the device that access or store company data. This involves getting a complete picture of all endpoints within your M365 or within your customer M365 tenant. You need to identify all physical devices, any virtual machines such as Windows 365, Azure Virtual Desktop, and all mobile devices, including Android, iOS, iPad. So a comprehensive inventory is foundation to effective security compliance. So knowing what they're using is really important. Second, you need to determine if these devices are managed. This means understanding the current device management strategy and its reach. Are users accessing Microsoft 365 devices from managed devices managed by your IT department? Alternatively, are users primarily accessing from devices that under MDM platform similar to Intune? Furthermore, it is important to distinguish whether these devices are company-owned or personal devices, and the impact of policy enforcement and data handling. So also the third point is apps. Are apps up to date? Are your Microsoft 365 applications deployed remotely to all type of managed devices? And that will help you to ensure consistent access and functionality beyond deployment. So it is critical to verify your Microsoft 365 apps or your customer apps are current with the latest version, especially given the rapid evolution of the Copilot features, which often require updated application built into functions correctly and securely. The third point is we must confirm the device are secure. This involves examining the security posture of your endpoints. Do we have robust security policies in place to protect devices from common vulnerabilities and emergent threats? And are these policies contributing to overall compliance? Equally, it is important to ask question, are your devices running the latest operating system versions? As these updates often include critical security patches and performance improvement that will help you to mitigate risks. Finally, we need to understand what is the risk. This involves crucial risk assessment. What would be the consequences of compromised devices were used to access sensitive company data? What if the corporate data were exposed to security lapse on one of the devices? We need to analyze potential impact and cost, such as cost of such incidents. Ultimately, are we lead to a question: are we currently at risk, at an acceptable risk level? Are we compliant with relevant regulations and internally secured? We have internal security standards. These are the questions you should ask yourself or the customer on the discovery phase when we are talking about securing access from the devices. Now we come to the protect phase. So to mitigate and reduce risk, it is essential to implement effective controls. Start by managing devices, enroll them to MDM solution to ensure centralized control and monitoring in place. Deploy device configuration policies to ensure security settings, such as password requirements, encryption, screen lock. Also, you can implement devices protection policy, implementing antivirus software, firewall settings, intrusion detection system, and finally enforce the operating system update policies to keep the device running the latest operating system versions and protect against vulnerability. And that reminds me of Windows 10 security updates coming to end in October. So if you guys, your customers are not ready for that, please consider upgrading your devices to Windows 11. Moving to the next point, which is manage the apps by ensuring that Microsoft 365 apps deployed remotely to all your managed devices. Keep these apps up to date to maintain security and functionality. Deploy application configuration policies to enhance the security, such as disabling macros in Office 365 and setting up secure email configuration. Additionally, enforce update policies to ensure all applications are kept in the current within the current latest security patches and features. The point after that is set compliance by deploying device compliance policies that can define the requirement like encryption, antivirus status, operating system version, and create a conditional access policy based on the device compliance to restrict access to the Microsoft 365 resources. Revoke access also to non-compliant devices to prevent potential security breach, which can remediate, which work with users to remediate non-compliant devices by bring back the compliance. So it will force you to speak to the user, make sure that his device is compliant or her device is compliant, and all the right compliance policies applied, and then they can access the resources, including Copilot. Finally, you have to have a policy to wipe the devices and ensure data security. So fully wipe lost or stolen device to prevent unauthorized access to the company information. Additionally, wipe all work-related content, including data generated by the Copilot. Let's summarize what we just discussed. First, we need to manage users and devices. The tool for that within the Microsoft 365 is Intune. So Intune help you or help us to identify and control users' excessive permissions, reducing security risk, but also mitigate device risk by managing device compliance and security. Second point is capabilities, comes to capabilities for Microsoft 365. Intune ensure that all Microsoft 365 applications are securely installed on user devices and kept up to date, preventing vulnerabilities. Also, limit the use of work apps, including Copilot, on personal devices to maintain security and compliance. The third point, application policies to control that, what users can do with apps, such as saving files and copying files to another AI application that is not secured, or to SaaS applications that you don't want them to share confidential information to. Also, an important additional measure is to wipe all work content in the case of lost or theft, which will allow you to protect the data and protect your data.
Ala, can I ask real quick?
Yes.
Intune, does it have like a default or recommended benchmark app protection policies, or is it something we have to kind of make up ourselves?
No, Microsoft always provide best practice policies. You can follow that. I'm happy to share the link where you can find all this information. But yes, you can select your own custom policies, of course, based on your experience and based on recommended as well best practices by Microsoft.
And I
So
guess the client's
yes,
circumstances.
exactly. Cool. Now we're going to talk about the data, which is which is an important slide we're going to keep in mind, because everything we do is to protect the data. So like the previous slides, there are two phases, the discovery phase and the protection phase. So starting with the discovery phase, first you need to figure out what is sensitive for your customer organization. That means clearly defining what kind of data is most important. Think of personal information, financial records, your company trade secrets. Knowing this will help you to focus on protection effort, whether it is general customer data, highly confidential information, etc. Next, you need to pin down where data lives. So we're talking about making a complete list of every place your data is stored. It is on your own servers, is it in the cloud, or spread across different devices. Also, is the data feeding tool like Copilot, and is it structured neatly in databases or just loose files? Knowing is a key to protect your data or your customer data. Figure out who has access or should have access. This is all about controlling who can review or change your sensitive information. You need to know what content your employees can currently see. If anyone outside the company can access to, it is about also preventing accidental oversharing and making sure only the right people can access and handle the data. After that, look at how it is being used. We need to understand which application and processes are integrating with your data. Are these places where are there places where sensitive data is exposed, or more than it should be, or where it is floating around? The goal here is to make sure all sensitive data managed properly. Finally, what is at risk? This means thinking about all the bad stuff, like if your data gets out or if there is data breach. What kind of data exposure should really hurt the company? What would be the impact from cost perspective in that event? So all these questions we ask. Please remember the first slide. Is your customer at low risk, medium risk, and high risk? And these slides mostly apply to the high risk, but that's the extreme. You don't have to go to these measures if your customer at low risk, meaning family business, etc. So you need to understand where your customer sits, and you can see that in the right-hand side of the slide. Now we go to the protect phase. So to protect the data, we start with the data classifications. Start by classifying data based on sensitivity and importance. This will help you, of course, to apply the right security measures to ensure compliance with regulations. Second, data labeling. Tag the data with the metadata, indicating its sensitivity level. This can be done manually by users or automatically based on the content, location, and purpose. Apply sensitivity label help to maintain compliance and data protection with regulations. Now, data access control is another point. So implement policies and technologies to control who can access the data. This includes optimizing access permissions, correcting oversharing, excluding unnecessary data resources, authentications and authorization, and auditing. You need all these mechanisms to control the data. Now we move to the data protection control. Protect sensitive data information through encryption, backup, disaster recovery, watermark, data loss prevention. That all will help you to control data and protect it. Finally, sorry, the weather in Sydney is not that great. Data lifecycle control. So manage data from creation or deletion securely. So implement retention policy, automatic deletion to minimize the risk of data loss. Ensure record management meet businesses' legal regulatory requirements. All these steps will help you to protect the data when using AI. The summary for this, or the fourth piece of the puzzle. First, Copilot data consumption. We need to look at data Copilot consumption and processing capabilities, and we need to make sure that it is strictly limited to the permissions assigned to the users. Next, Copilot automatically inherits the sensitive labels of any document it accesses. These labels are then applied to any output of reference generated by Copilot, maintaining the same level of data protection throughout. Third point, Copilot generates sensitive data and saves it within the Microsoft 365. So existing data loss prevention policy kicks in. This will help to prevent unauthorized sharing or leakage of sensitive data. Additionally, all interaction with Copilot are logged for auditing purposes. This logging capability allows organizations to monitor the usage, detect any business or code of conduct violation, and ensure compliance with inherent internal policies and regulations. So anything the users do on Copilot, it is recorded, it is audited, you can recall it, even if it is deleted. You still, as an admin, can look at what's been written and if there is any code of conduct breach. Now, we're looking at data security posture management for AI. So some of you may have heard of it, some of you not. It's a new service that Microsoft released recently. DSPM, the shortcut. So DSPM for AI offers a comprehensive suite of tools and capabilities that can greatly assist in preparing for Microsoft 365 Copilot. By leveraging these tools, businesses can enhance their data security and compliance measures effectively. The DSPM for AI serves as a centralized platform that secure and monitor AI applications, including Microsoft 365 and third-party AI tools. It provides insights and analysis into AI activity within the business, ensuring data security and compliance. Also, the DSPM for AI also offers a pre-configured policies designed to protect sensitive data and prevent data loss, which simplify adoption of AI technology without compromising security. So by using the DSPM for AI, your customer business can effectively, or you can manage the deployment for the Microsoft 365, ensuring all interactions are secured and compliant within regulatory requirement. And this will help to maintain balance between leveraging AI for productivity and safeguarding your customer organization data. So DSPM offers similar capabilities, insight and analysis to AI activities within the business. Ready-to-use policies to protect the data and prevent data loss in AI prompts, compliance control to apply optimal data handling and storing policies. Just for your information, DSPM for AI is free. So it is available in your compliance portal. Check it out, and it is free for Business Premium. So if you're a customer on Business Premium, why not leveraging this tool?
That's really great. So is it something you have to opt into, or is it just there?
It is there. You just have to implement it or configure it, and it should be easy steps. Now, another feature that can help you to get Copilot ready is SharePoint Advanced Management, which is SAM. So SAM is a set of advanced tools and features designed to enhance the management, security, governance of your SharePoint environment. By managing content over sharing permission and Spiral and SAM can enhance security collaboration with Microsoft 365. And again, the good news is as of January 2025, SharePoint Advanced Management is included with Microsoft 365 Copilot license. So you don't have to spend money on it. This means businesses or your customer business with Microsoft 365 Copilot license can have access to all SharePoint advanced management features without the needing of additional license. So technically in the past, you have to add it as an add-on. Now, if you buy Microsoft 365 Copilot, it is included with that license, or it is included within. So this integration can provide a built-in content governance reports and controls that help you to accelerate Copilot deployment and automate oversights at scale. So we have the DSPM for AI. It is available for your customer within the Microsoft Business Premium. You don't have to buy an extra license. You have SharePoint Advanced Management. Keep those three tools in mind available. And there is one more thing you could use. And that probably to medium tolerance risk. When we said it is parallel, you can apply all these tools while you're deploying Copilot. It won't take time. So the next step is restricted SharePoint search. You can, so this tool or this feature is intended as a solution to give customer time to review and audit the site permissions. It will help customers to maintain momentum with their Copilot deployment while they implement data security for discovery, protection, and governance. That's the parallel thing we said. So restricted SharePoint search will allow admin to disable organization-wide search while enabling them to select set of curated SharePoint site. These selected sites, along with the user-owned and previous accessed files and content, will then become accessible in search and in Copilot experience. This means that whether customer have enterprise search or restricted SharePoint search is enabled, users and their organization will still be able to interact with OneDrive information in Copilot. So by default, restricted SharePoint search will be off. If the customer decide to enable it, both Copilot and non-Copilot users will also be able to find and use content from an allowed list of curated SharePoint sites set up by admin. So with up to 100 SharePoint sites, and it will be honoring the site existing permissions from user OneDrive files like chat as part of, and emails that you send and received, calendars, etc. And content from their frequent visited sites. Cool. Moving to the next slide. How securing apps used to access Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now we are securing the apps. Again, discovery and protect. So first, as we mentioned, because the apps are the same as the devices, you need to know the device that the data is stored on or accessed. Are users accessing Microsoft 365 apps from personal devices? Are they using third-party MDM managed devices, or are they unmanaged devices? Next, identify which apps are in use. Which Microsoft 365 apps do users need to access Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Copilot? Do they need access from third-party apps? Are they allowed to use personal apps? Then ensure apps are protected. Is a PIN, fingerprint, or Face ID required to access the corporate apps? Can certain actions move or access corporate data be prohibited or monitored within the app? After that, check how data is shared? Can you control how corporate data is shared between corporate and personal apps or storage location? Finally, assess the risk. What if shadow IT is used to access company data? What if corporate data is exposed to personal apps or public locations? What would be the impact and the cost? Are we at risk? Are we compliant? So all these questions to be asked. Moving to the second phase, which is the implementation or the protection. First, protect your apps by implementing security measures such as encryption, multi-factor authentication, regular updates to safeguard against vulnerabilities, and set up protection policies to secure the core Microsoft 365 apps. Second, restrict app data usage to limit how and where data can be used within the application. Prevent unauthorized users. Require PIN, fingerprints, and Face ID to access the applications. Set approved applications, and by creating a list of applications that meet your security standard, and restrict access to Microsoft 365 to only those approved apps to ensure compliance and security. After that, define the managed location where data can be accessed or stored securely. OneDrive for Business is an example that prevents prevent saving company data on a third-party applications. I can't name, but you know. Finally, ensure you can wipe data remotely from applications on lost or compromised devices. This capability will help you to protect your sensitive data and reduce risk of data breach. We're just going to summarize. This is the final piece of the puzzle. So is making sure your applications are properly protected. This means we need to have the right policies in place to keep data within the business and prevent it from leaking out. So let's talk about users and devices. So managing overprivileged and risky users is a key. So we do that through identity and access management, which control user permissions to ensure only authorized individual can have access to the data. Next, we need to mitigate device risk. This is where endpoint management, in brackets Intune, using Intune. So by securing and managing devices that access our network, we can protect against potential threats, ensure these devices comply with our security policies. Let's move to the data. So preventing data exposure is critical. We use Microsoft Preview information protection to prevent overexposure of data. Again, that's included in Business Premium. This involves applying sensitivity labels to classify and protect data, ensuring sensitive information is handled properly. Finally, we have Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. This tool will help you to discover and control the use of applications to prevent unauthorized access to the data and data exposure. There is a special slide for that. So Defender for Cloud Apps has really stepped up its game by expanding its discovery features to cover over 400 generative AI applications. This means you can now see all the AI apps your customer is using, get a clear picture of the risks involved, and decide whether to approve or block each app. It's a great way to keep tabs on AI usage and ensure everything stays secure and compliant. One cool but often overlooked feature of Business Premium is the Defender for Cloud Apps. A lot of people don't know about it or haven't really used it. This tool helps businesses tackle shadow IT by identifying applications installed on user devices and those accessed through the browser. So including AI tools like ChatGPT. So Business Premium mainly offer discovery features, giving you detailed list of services your employees or your customer employee use that are not controlled by organizations. So the discovery capability of Defender for Cloud apps are included within Business Premium. So for more advanced options like blocking, approving apps, you can upgrade to the Defender for Cloud apps add-on. You can add it, or you can add Microsoft 365 E5 security add-on, which is now being approved to be added to Business Premium, while previously it was just for E3 and E5. Cool. A better experience with Microsoft 365 Business Premium. As we see on the screen, this is the Microsoft 365 pillars. Those secrets, this layered security within Microsoft Business Premium offer you a strong protection and data governance to your customer tenants. So starting with the first pillar, which is identity security. You have the intro ID P1. This is included with the Business Premium. That will have conditional access, advanced multi-factor authentication, dynamic groups, self-service service reset passwords, etc. That you won't have in other Microsoft 365 plans. Then we move into the device security, where you have Defender for Business to protect your endpoints, which is almost equivalent to the higher one or the advanced one, Defender for Endpoint Plan 2. Also, you have Microsoft Intune that help you to manage your devices. Application security that includes the data loss prevention capability, and also Defender for Office 365 to protect from malware, spyware, etc. And finally, document security. The capability of Azure Information Protection now become part of the Microsoft Preview, and that will help you to provide permission, encryption, watermarks into those documents, and classify your documents through the labeling, etc. So all these 4 pillars will contribute to the security posture of your customer tenant through the Microsoft Business Premium. I have included these steps as the deployment guide for Copilot. So the first step is start with optimization assessment, which is online questionnaire that will help you to understand your customer, which is we discussed in the previous slide. If you are not ready to deploy Copilot right away, you can turn on restricted SharePoint search and start using Copilot quickly, and then work on improving the data security in parallel. So remember that, please. Deploy Copilot for Microsoft 365. First step is, it is recommended that small to medium businesses optimize data security and compliance controls with Business Premium, which include manual sensitivity label and more, which is we discussed in the previous slides. Fifth step is, after the data security features are in place, you can turn off restricted SharePoint search and unlock the full value of Copilot and enable access to all relevant SharePoint sites.
So that special SharePoint, the restricted SharePoint search, is intended to be a bit of a band-aid while you're sorting yourself out in a more
exactly, because we have categorized the customers to 3 categorization. So that's the one in the middle, medium tolerance to risk. So parallelly, while deploying Copilot, you can take 3 steps: restricted SharePoint, you can work on advanced SharePoint management, and I forgot the first one.
Yeah, it's been a long webinar, Allah. You've done super well.
All good. And so you can play with an DSPM for AI, but that's a bit maybe advanced. So leave that and focus on those 2 things: advanced SharePoint, advanced management, and the restricted SharePoint for the medium tolerance to risk. Yeah. Now, the slide right now we're presenting is a comparison between the Microsoft business and business standard security capabilities when we talk about Copilot. So while they have some security features, it is not really enough when we talk about the world of security. It's not enough protection compared to the business premium in the next as a next point. So you can have multi-factor authentication, you can have search for export results, audit log, retention and deletion policy, but all the basic features. If you want the real features that are included in business premium, and you can see on the screen, search, export, e-discovery, etc., audit logs, retention policies, data loss prevention, conditional access, all will help you to have a better experience with Copilot, a better and secure experience with Copilot. If you after a detailed comparisons, I have included these slides. I believe Claire and the Manage Protect team will share these slides with you after the call, but you have a detailed comparisons on what's included from security and compliance perspective between the three plans. And you can see on the right-hand side how Microsoft Business Premium has too many capabilities compared to the basic and standard. Moving to the next step, I would recommend, this is a call to action. You can look at the Copilot Adoption Kit. You can enhance your security. You can watch the enhanced security and get ready for Microsoft Copilot webinar. You can sign up for Microsoft Solution Assessment, and there are technical boot camps available, and more. These are useful links for security purposes to help you with a more secured experience with Copilot. They will be shared with you, and that will take us to the next step, which is this webinar. We're done with the slides. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so much information, and I'm sure everyone's it was a lot to take in. We will send a video, we will send the slides, so you can kind of go back and go over some things that maybe you didn't quite absorb the first time. Thank you so much. This has been a really comprehensive experience. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Problems.
Before we wrap up, and I am conscious we are a little bit over time, I just wanted to say our next webinar, the point of that webinar is to bring along your end users, your clients, so that we can help you explain the benefits of Copilot to them. It's good for you for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's taking a proactive approach to optimizing their business processes, giving them good ideas, new ways they can achieve productivity. And secondly, we sell some more expensive licenses, and that makes everybody happy. So I will send out an email regarding that. And the idea is that you bring along your clients, and they will be the ones that this webinar is tailored to. The content will be quite similar to the first webinar that we ran. So if you would like your clients to have that experience and gain that understanding of Microsoft 365 Copilot and its practical uses, please do invite them along, and I'll provide some materials to help make that easy. All right. Well, thank you very much, Alan. Thank you, Andrew, for your questions and answering. It's been quite a morning. Thanks again, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you.